Larks. The Larks are coming off of a sweep against the Colorado Rough Riders, and they start a new series tonight as they will play 2 games against the Liberal BJs here at Larks Park. As we welcome you to the pregame show, my name is Hank Corsair, and alongside me is Eli Blankenship. And the Larks are coming off of the sweep in that most recent game. They did what they did. They do what they do best. They got the first 6 runs of that game, only allowed 1 run for the Rough Riders, and never looked back from that point on, getting the big win and improving to 23-4-1 now on the year coming into tonight's game.
Yeah, it was certainly a high point for the Larks coming off of the kind of 2 pretty kind of not necessarily the prettiest looking games off the rip, and then had a pretty solid start there to the second to the third and fourth games, and that really kind of defined the remainder of the series for them. And that series, like I said, started out a little shaky, but they brought it back together there at the end of the series, and they did an excellent job at sweeping the series and really showing what they do best, as you said, and that was the offense that really defined that Larks series.
And it's everything that the Larks do this entire season that helped them get the sweep. They relied on their pitching. The batting got hot early on, and the Larks really have a home field advantage here at Larks Park. They now have won 10 games in a row here at Larks Park, which is part of their 8-game win streak coming into tonight's game. Yeah,
they've been on a hot streak for sure, and this Larks Park, really the atmosphere for them is something special. It's something that they don't get to experience anywhere else. Some of the stadiums they play at, they don't really have any spectators, whereas here at Larks Park, they've got a big crowd. They've got a big home crowd cheering them on at that matter. And so for the Larks, it's really a nice kind of confidence booster for them. Really can play off the home crowd per se.
The Larks played a series against Liberal early on in the season. They went 2-1 in that one. And Liberal comes into tonight's game 12-12 on the year and 10-11 in RMBL play. They've played 8 games since they've last met the Larks, and they're split on them at 4-4. since that last game on June 26th, and they've had some of their struggles this season. Most of that has to do with many roster changes that they've made throughout the season. But even though they've had those struggles, they come into tonight's game with an opportunity to pick up their season late and get some big wins together.
Yeah, the BJs are still in contention to be able to make the NBC World Series. So this is the point of their season where it's kind of turning into a do or die. They're sitting at third in the Rocky Mountain Baseball Conference right at the moment, and they're a pretty solid ball club. That they've got some talented players, and it should be interesting to see how they play against the Larks here, especially on the road.
It is a rivalry that dates back for quite a ways, and we got another edition of it tonight. We are 11 minutes away from first pitch, and we will have that for you when we come back. We welcome you to Larks Park as we get set for the first of this day-to-day series as the Larks take on the Liberal BJs, putting their 8-game win streak to the test as Nolan Wilson makes his 4th start of the season and 7th appearance on the mound. The junior from Hockley, Texas, has had a very successful year so far, 2-0 record, has gotten 24 strikeouts on the season, holding his opponents to a 150 ERA and 140 batting average. And he's going to have to get a hot start early on because Liberal showed in the first matchups with the Larks that they can compete if they score early.
Well, 24 strikeouts is no number to turn your head away from. That is a pretty impressive mark for Nolan Wilson, considering the small amount of games that he's made an appearance in. So far this season, he's been looking pretty good. We'll see if he can keep it up for the Larks this evening and see if they can stay competitive with this BJ's team. I think it's going to be a good ball game between these two teams. There's two very talented ball clubs out there on the field tonight.
Apologize for the technical difficulties with my microphone, but for the Larks, they are wearing their red jersey tonight. Liberal is wearing the powder blue. As the first pitch goes on the way, it goes low in the zone, and it's strike one to the shortstop, Matt Burneth. First pitch tonight comes at 7:06 p.m. with it being 92 degrees at first pitch here in Hayes. And already Nolan Wilson gets ahead 0-2. Facing off against the freshman from Riverside, California. 0-2 on the way. Wilson puts it outside. Just misses the zone. They're going to call that the first ball of the at-bat.
What this Larks pitching squad does so well is they get ahead in the count early. You saw even in this at-bat, Nolan Wilson getting up 0-2 to start the count.
Another one on the outside. Count now stands at 2-2. This one goes inside. Bernath will put it in play. It's a ground ball over to Thomas Lissy. Throws it across the infield, and Jackson Babcock makes the first catch for out number 1.
Well, a nice way to start the outing for the Larks, and can't really ask for more in terms of how you start an outing. And hopefully for the Larks' sake, they can keep up their defensive prowess that they've had and they've shown in their last couple games.
That last pitch, that last batter that Nolan Wilson faced, he started putting it on the outside, went inside. That's when he took a swing at it. That's how they were able to get the first out. And out to bat is the second baseman from Corpus Christi, Texas, Larry Olivares. Once again, the pitch goes outside. They don't take a swing at it. It moves the count to 1-1. Here is the full lineup tonight for Liberal. Batting third on deck is Drew Grego. The cleanup batter is Justin Hudson. The fifth batter in the order is number 39, the designated hitter Carson Willis. As we get a swing and a miss right there, the count now stands at 1-2. Drew Garcia is playing first base tonight. He is batting sixth. And the final 3 batters in the order for the BJs are Jack Ryan, Jackson Witt, and J.T. Cox. 1-2 on the way. This one will be put in play. And they're going to say that one was fair. So Jackson Babcock will just run over and tag the base as Olivares wasn't running after it.
Well, that's the correct call there. I was able to watch that ball land and play, and it landed just past the first base and just left of the foul line. At least from our perspective, it would be left. For the umpire, it would be from the right side of it for that first base umpire. But it just barely landed in play. The right call to make there, though, that's not an easy call to make, especially when you're having to make that in a split-second decision.
Babcock was unsure if that one was fair or not, but because Olivares wasn't running after the base, he was able to tag it. That's why in the early days they always tell you to run unless they call it foul. Third batter for Liberals now up. That's number 20, Drew Grego. High school senior from Papillion, Nebraska. They'll be playing for the Cornhuskers next season. He is down 0-1 in the count to Nolan Wilson, and we'll take a look in just a second at the Larks' defensive alignment tonight. As another pitch goes outside, it moves the count even, 1-1. Trent Baker will be in left field tonight. Caleb Duncan once again will play in center field, and Lane Sparks returns to the outfield playing in right. Thomas Lissy is back is in his usual spot at third base. Jackson Babcock returns to first base after playing second in the previous game. As we get a ground ball, Thomas Lissy on the run will field it, throw it to Babcock, and there is out number 3. A 3-up, 3-down inning by the BJs to start the game. We'll have the Larks up to bat next when we come back. In that prior inning, 2 outs were responsible by Thomas Lissy and Jackson Babcock as the Liberal BJs go 3 up, 3 down to start the game. And now it's the Larks' turn to bat here in the bottom of the first, as they'll face off against Liberal's starting pitcher. That is a graduate from Rice, Thomas Rahe, for his 4th start of the season.
Well, and Rahe will have a couple familiar faces here on this Larks squad, as a couple of his teammates from Rice are also Larks players. Kind of a cool little connection there. You get to play against your teammates during the summer and get to see them every once in a while. Kind of a cool little connection there.
First pitch to Tabor Stokes goes outside for ball 1. Stokes batting in the leadoff spot for the 2nd game in a row. Leaves that one outside. He's ahead now with 2 balls in the count. Here is the Larks order after Tabor Stokes. It'll be Lane Sparks on deck and Trent Baker in the hole. Jackson Babcock will bat 4th in the order. After that will be the designated hitter Dylan LaRue. Lorenzo Rios will bat 6th. We'll also see Thomas Lissy bat 7th. And then Caleb Duncan and C.J. Reed round out the rest of the order. Stokes is ahead now 3-0, looking to get on base after a 1 for 4 performance against the Rough Riders. It's now become the new leader in batting average for the Larks. Lets that one go by for a 3-1 count. We'll take a look at the BJ's defensive alignment in just a second, as Rahe delivers the 3-1. And this one will go fouled on the third base line. And it's now a full count between Stokes and Rahe. This is what the outfield for Liberal looks like. In left field is number 4, J.T. Cox. In center field will be number 21, Jack Ryan. The right fielder tonight is number 24, Justin Hudson. And we'll take a look at the infield in just a second, but the catcher is a new face in the lineup. That is number 22, Jackson Witt, playing his first game with the BJs. And here's the payoff pitch. And this one is a high fly ball that looks like it's going to land in foul territory. Cox will still run after it, and it'll land out of play.
That ball seemed like it really had a lot of hang time up in the air. It didn't really come down initially. It seemed like it just floated up there for a little bit. I wonder if it maybe caught a little bit of a wind gust up there. The wind is gusting out of right field. As you can see, the flagpole, I don't know if you guys can see that on your screen. It doesn't appear as though you can, but there's a kind of crosswind here on this field. So there's a reason that ball kind of sliced the way that it did.
18 miles per hour at first pitch, and Tabor Stokes will win the battle. He's the first runner on base in this game. That'll now take us to the right fielder, Lane Sparks. Returns to the lineup after serving as the courtesy runner for Paul Smith in the previous game, where he scored 1 run. Here is the infield for the BJs. At the corners, they'll have Drew Grego playing third base and Drew Garcia playing at first base. Number 3, Matt Bernath, will be the shortstop, and number 17, Larry Olivares, is the second baseman. First pitch goes outside for ball 1 to Lane Sparks. The catcher Witt wants it down the middle. This one will be put in play, and the first baseman Garcia not able to make the play. Both runners will advance for the Larks, and they've got a runner in scoring position with no outs.
That was a nice little knock there from Lane Sparks. Knocked it right in between the first baseman and the second baseman there. Found the gap and couldn't quite get their hands on it for the BJs. And it was Garcia there on first base that just barely missed the ball. I mean, his glove was maybe a foot away from the ball, just a smidge away from it. If he would have had maybe one more step in that direction, he would have had time to get there. But that ball just came off his bat so quick, it was so hard for him to just react in time to be able to snag that ball.
It's the best situation the Larks could ask for right here. They got a runner in scoring position, and they send their RBI leader, Trent Baker, to the plate. They'll foul off the first pitch, down 1 strike in the count.
Well, not just the RBI leader, but the home run leader as well. 6 home runs on the season so far for Trent Baker, so be aware, outfielders. This guy can hit the ball pretty deep.
Baker steps back into the box. The graduate right-hander from Fort Worth, Texas, will take a look back at second and deliver the pitch. This one will be put in play, a diving play, not able to be made again by Garcia. And Baker will be at first base. The throw goes into home. Sliding in safely is Tabor Stokes for the first run of the game. And Trent Baker advances over to second.
Well, that is a way to start a ball game if I've ever seen one. A valiant effort there from Garcia. All things considered, man, that was a tough play to make. The fact that he even got a glove on that ball is incredible to me. So, unfortunate situation there for Garcia. That won't go down as an error. That's easily a hit every day of the week. And so, now with 2 runners in scoring position, the Larks already got 1 run on the board. No outs whatsoever. And they've got Jackson Babcock, one of their very talented hitters in this lineup, up to the plate. He can potentially drive in 2 more runs here for the Larks.
With that last play, Trent Baker now has 37 RBIs on the year. He is 12 away now from putting himself on the leaderboard for RBIs in a season. The record is 69, but to get on that board, he would need 49, with that record belonging to Kyle Day. And we got a fly ball into right field, and Hudson will make the catch, throw it into home. And once again, the Larks will have another RBI as Lane Sparks goes in from third, tagging up, sliding in safely.
Not exactly what Babcock wanted there on that play, and it kind of hung a little bit longer than he was anticipating in the air, and I think that wind gust kind of played into effect there. But nonetheless, still got a ribby. You know, that's a good outing at the plate. You know, an RBI is just as good as a hit in my book. I think with an RBI, you're still driving in a run. It's just as good. So for the Larks now, leading 2-0, they're sitting in a pretty good position here.
2 runs already, just 1 out. Now Dylan LaRue's up to bat. His 1 hit in the last game against Colorado was a 2-run home run. And he's got 1 runner on that's 90 feet away from home plate. That's Trent Baker. Count 1-0. The catcher wants it down the middle, and that's where the pitch goes. It actually goes a little bit outside. They'll throw back to first or third base. LaRue is ahead with a 2-0 count. Lorenzo Rios, who is teammates with Rahe at Rice, is on deck. Thomas Lissy will also be in the hole. That pitch catches the outside part of the plate. It ties the count up 2-1. The corner infielders will play a little bit closer to the plate. As the pitch gets sent there, it's going to be fouled back, goes off the net. Moves the count to 2-2.
LaRue in that designated hitter position tonight, he had quite a bit of appearances this last weekend in the seasons in the weekend series against the Rough Riders, and now tonight he'll be in that designated hitter position. He played a lot of catcher this weekend for the Larks, and so he's getting a little bit of a break on his knees, I would imagine.
That one will lead to a full count as LaRue leaves it upstairs. Tabor Stokes was the other batter in this inning to be faced with a full count. He was walked. We'll see what LaRue does. Rahe sends the ball to the plate. This one will be a line drive into left field. Cox thought about running up, instead will hold back and then throw it into home. And Trent Baker slides in for the 3rd run of tonight's game.
And that's a great way to start the game. I mean, for the Larks, you can't even be upset about that pop fly there. You know, you've got all your runners off the base paths now. The 2 hits that you had, you're not leaving anybody on base. So for the Larks, you can't even a sacrifice fly. You'll take that any day of the week, especially in the position they were in. And now, you know, you can go out of this inning pretty happy and sitting 3 runs ahead. I mean, that's a pretty nice position to be in, especially in the bottom of the 1st.
Thomas Rahe spent this last season at Rice, and now he's facing off against his teammate Lorenzo Rios. Rahe is actually currently in the transfer portal as he's looking for 1 more year of college baseball after missing these last 2 seasons due to Tommy John surgery. 1-0 on the way. Finds the zone for strike 1. So Rios will step back into the box. Big performance for him in the Larks' last game against the Rough Riders, 2 for 4. with a double, single, and run, as well as 3 stolen bases. He'll leave that one inside, and it's going to tie the count up 2-1. The catcher has his gloves centered. The pitch is going to be sent to the plate, and it goes foul, moving the count to 2-2. So we'll see if Rios can keep the inning alive right here. He's gotten a hit in 7 of his last 8 games. And the pitch is on the way to the plate. Low and inside, and we got another full count.
Well, and Rios is getting some reps at catcher tonight as opposed to Dylan LaRue, and Rios had been playing some designated hitter in that batting in that position for the Larks over this last weekend, and now he's getting a little bit more reps and experience there in that catching position. I want to say he even played first base in one of those games against the Rough Riders. And so for Rios, he gets moved all over the place, but he's such a versatile player that it doesn't really matter where he's out on the field. He's going to make an impact.
And that's pretty much the case with every Larks catcher. You have Dylan LaRue, who sees time in the outfield. You got Paul Smith, who plays first base along with Lorenzo Rios. That's a very big quality to have, and Rios, I believe, got hit by the ball as he took a swing at it, so I believe they will call that a foul ball, and he will stay alive. They will give him a second to step to the side after he was hit.
Yeah, that to me looked like it might have come off of his back leg, kind of his plant foot. And so I think when he fouled it away, it missed his ankle guard or his shin guard that he's wearing on that front right foot and kind of fouled it away onto his back left foot, which doesn't have a guard on it, which I am sure that was not very comfortable for him whatsoever.
Here comes the 8th pitch of the at-bat, and another one gets fouled off. Goes off the hand of the Larks first base coach, Ben Tinius.
He almost barehanded that one. That was pretty impressive. I almost saw him snag that down. He could have just slipped that right in his pocket if he wanted to.
We'll see who wants it more right here in this battle between the 2 Rice Owls. Another one gets popped up, and the third baseman, Grego, will stop as he was running after it. It's another one that goes out of play. 4 foul balls now for Lorenzo Rios since he's been faced with 2 strikes in the count.
Well, and these two know each other. I'm sure they've seen each other before, been able to analyze each other's games. So this is a little bit of a meeting of the minds here between these two, playing some mind games a little bit too, I'm sure they know each other's strengths and weaknesses.
Next pitch is on the way, and take a guess, it's a foul ball.
Pretty much in the same spot too, and that wind, as I said, you pop the ball up anywhere above that safety netting, and it's going to take off. So especially getting it over the top of the press box, which is really serving as a windbreak, getting it over that mark is just going to blow the ball quite a ways over.
Here comes number 11. And there'll be a fly ball deep into center field. Ryan will run back for it. And getting there to make the catch is J.T. Cox for out number 3. But the Larks strike first in tonight's game. They score 3 runs and leave nobody on the base path. When we go to the top of the second, when we come back, we will have the middle part of Liberals' order. In that last inning, the Larks scored 3 runs on 2 hits and left nobody stranded as we start the top half of the second inning with the middle part of the Liberal order with Justin Hudson leading things off.
It was a rather lengthy inning, and the Larks really made the best of it. They scored 3 runs there in the bottom of the first inning, a very productive outing for the offense so far.
We got a deep drive into left field, but this one's going to go out of play into the grass area where the Hayes Recreation Commission will have their soccer and flag football practices. It starts the count 0-1 here in the top of the second. And this time another drive into left field. This time it looks like Trent Baker's going to get there, and he does. He makes the catch for the first out of the inning. That now takes us to the Arkansas Razorback, Carson Willis. Batting .309 on the season. This is his 21st game of the year with the BJs. That 3-4-5 spots for Liberal are where they bat their Division I guys. We had Drew Grego, who is a commit to Nebraska. Justin Hudson just played his first season with the Queens Royals. And then Carson Willis rounds that out with the SEC background with Arkansas.
That's a scary part of the lineup to have to face if you're a pitcher. I mean, think about how intimidating that sounds. 3 Division I players back to back to back. I mean, that can be a rough inning if you are not on your A game. And so far, Nolan Wilson's been able to hold up for the Larks, but we'll see if he can keep that pace up and hold that standard high because, man, that's not an easy part of their lineup to face.
The count started 2-0. A swing and a miss right there ties it up. Next pitch goes down low. Willis is ahead 3-1. Liberals put all their balls in place so far. All ground outs in the first inning. They just had a fly out to left field. And now it's a full count as that one goes foul towards the BJ's dugout. Payoff pitch from Wilson gets sent to the plate, and it's a swing and a miss on the outside for out number 2.
That was a good-looking pitch there. Got him to chase it. I mean, that pitch kind of – the way that he threw that pitch was so manipulative to that batter. He didn't have a chance to really react to it, and by the time it got to the plate, that ball was completely out of the zone. He had no chance to really even make contact with that pitch because of the way that he threw it. It was just so deceptive to that batter, and what a beautifully placed pitch and well-designed there from Nolan Wilson.
His 25th strikeout of the season, and now Drew Garcia is up to bat, starting with a count 0-1 as he lets that one go by. Garcia is from Corpus Christi, Texas, was a redshirt this last season at Blinn Community College. That pitch goes outside for the first ball as Wilson's looking for another 3-up, 3-down inning. All ground outs in the first. This inning he's got a fly out, a strikeout. And we'll see how this one goes. The 1-1 is on the way. Swing and a miss, and now there's 2 strikes in the count. Garcia got a piece of it on the foul tip, but now has to fight back right here. Wilson kicks and deals. This one will go in play, and it's going to be a call to foul ball as Thomas Lissy was running after it into foul territory.
Yeah, he almost got a glove on it before it went out of play, and Lissy not able to save that ball and keep it in play. I think Garcia would have had a chance to make it to first base had Lissy fielded that ball. Garcia's got a pretty nice set of wheels on him there as he really took off out of that batter's box and tried to hoof it all the way down to first.
We've already had one close play tonight, so it doesn't hurt to at least go after it, but Lissy read it well, just let it bounce into foul territory. And now Wilson just needs one more strike to retire the side. That one goes high and inside at the face of Garcia. Count now 2-2. Rios wants the pitch down low. That's where it goes, and it goes foul after that.
and kind of jumped over the fence there, over by the Larks dugout, jumped into the dugout for that matter, and the photographers were at the ready there. They were able to dodge out of the way, but that ball came off his bat pretty hot.
This will be the 7th pitch of the at-bat from Nolan Wilson, Drew Garcia. And a swing and a miss. He puts another one on the outside and retires the side as the Larks go 3 up, 3 down once again against the BJs. And we'll have the bottom half of their order when we come back. Thomas Lissy will lead off the bottom half of the second inning as the Larks lead 3-0 over the BJs with Thomas Rehe going back to the mound. As the BJs try to get a win here in this series, they're 10-11 currently in the RBL. Larks had 6 batters up to the plate in the last inning, scoring 3 runs on 2 hits. And now we'll see what Lissy does right here. He's back in the lineup tonight after sitting out the last game, which was against the Rough Riders and was a non-league game. And he'll get ahead on the first pitch, 1-0. Catcher wants this one on the inside. That's where it goes. Misses the zone, and Lissy goes ahead 2-0. After Lissy, it'll be Caleb Duncan and C.J. Reed up next. Another one goes inside. 3-0 count for the third baseman from Harlingen, Texas. Another one on the inside. Lissy lets it go by. 4 balls to start the inning, and he will head down to first base.
Well, and in their series against the Rough Riders, the Larks were really able to capitalize on walks. They were seeing the plate really well. They had great discipline, swinging at pitches they only needed to swing at, and that really benefited them in the long run. They ended up run ruling the Rough Riders in one of those games, actually 2 of those games, I guess I should say. And those walks were really crucial to the overall success of their team and to the overall success of the game, I should say. For the Larks, that could be a key tonight against this BJ's team. If they can stay disciplined at the plate, they can really get that to pay off for them potentially coming down the stretch.
Well, that was the key for the Larks in that entire series, was taking advantage of the Rough Riders' mistakes. I actually flipped a page in my scorebook because I had a note about that entering that final game, they had given up 326 runs on the season. 107 of those were unearned. Now up to the next batter, Caleb Duncan, as he starts with an 0-2 count. Thomas Lissy will successfully steal second base. Duncan scored a run in the last game against the Rough Riders as he got on base being hit by a pitch. The 0-2 gets sent his way, takes a bounce in the other box. Moves the count to 1-2. Final batter in the Larks lineup is C.J. Reed, who's on deck, and a swing and a miss right there will send Duncan back to the dugout. As it's the first strikeout of the night for Thomas Rehe, giving him 14 now on the season. And C.J. Reed returns to the lineup tonight, batting ninth. He's been batting in this 9-hole spot for the last few games.
He's back in his normal position, too, at second base. He kind of moved around a little bit after Jackson Babcock took over second base duties while they gave Reed a rest the other night. And so Babcock's back on first base, and Reed is now playing second this evening.
1-0 count to start right there. That was some pretty good alliteration right there. Rehe again takes a look back at second base. The 1-0 gets sent to Reed, and it goes outside for ball two. That one goes inside, and Reed will let it go by. He is ahead 3-0. Larks have an opportunity to get another runner on base before returning to the top of their lineup with Tabor Stokes.
He struggled with Thomas Lissy, also another left-handed batter, so I'm wondering if left-handed batters are a little bit of a weakness for Thomas Rehe.
That one will be called strike one, but the thing that works out for the Larks against Liberals pitching is that facing right-handers is what they can expect for the majority of this two-game series, because Liberal features 11 pitchers on their roster, and 9 of them are right-handed. Line drive by Reed will go foul, and after starting 3-0, he will now face a full count. Payoff pitch gets sent to the plate. Reed will foul it off. And we will now await the 7th pitch of the at-bat. Still just one out in this inning. Lissy standing over at second. Inside, Reed will head down to first base. As he started 3-0, Rehe was able to fight back and get 2 strikes in the count. But in the end, Reed will take first base, and now the Larks go back to the top of their order with the shortstop, Tabor Stokes.
That's exactly what I'm talking about right there, being disciplined at the plate. Work the count. Get yourself in a position where you can control the pitcher. If the pitcher has to pitch to you, you're going to be in a good position when you're at the plate every single time you're up there. And especially after you've faced him a first time, if you had a good at-bat that first time, that pitcher's going to remember that, and he's going to have to think about what he can do to try to change things up, and that can really throw a pitcher out of their momentum.
Stokes was walked in his first appearance. And we'll let the first pitch take a bounce in the turf. Starting the count off 1-0. I meant to say dirt right there, and then I just combined the words dirt and turf together.
I mean, same thing. At least at Larks Park, it's the same thing.
So on a line drive, goes right into the glove of Bernath, and will throw back to second base, but sliding back safely is Thomas Lissy. As a quick reaction there by Bernath, he's able to get out number 2.
Nice snag from him. Got on his elbow and his knee to get that play, and to be able to dive and lay out for that kind of play right there. That's not an easy catch to make, especially being in the hot corner right there with third baseman Grego. That's not an easy play to make, and balls come off really hot off the bat in that corner of the field, and props to Bernath for being able to make that play right there for the BJs.
Layton Sparks, who had the first hit of tonight's game, will be who the Larks rely on to keep the inning alive. First one goes inside. Our home plate umpire will call that one ball one. Sparks entering this game with a .380 average. That's going to go up since he's gotten one hit tonight. He's already had now 2-0. If he continues on this path and gets walked, that sets up an opportunity for Trent Baker to come up to the plate and get another RBI and possibly bring even some more runs home. 2-0 from Rehe. Takes a bounce, and that one will get away from the catcher, Witt, and he will throw down to second base, and C.J. Reed slides in safely.
Now 2 runners in scoring position. They're looking like they're in a pretty decent spot now. Lane Sparks, the right fielder, has an opportunity here to drive in a couple runs if he can get a base hit.
– 3-0 on the way, and that one goes right down the middle for strike one.
I honestly think Sparks might have just taken that pitch on purpose because he didn't even really look like he was looking to swing up there on that pitch, and I think because of where he was at in the count, it didn't make sense for him to swing.
He will hit a ground ball over to Olivares, and he will give it over to Garcia for out number 3. Larks got 2 runners in scoring position that inning, but with 3 outs, they are both left stranded. We're now going into the top of the 3rd inning with the bottom half of the Liberal order when we come back. We welcome you back to Larks Park on this Tuesday night action as we start the top of the 3rd inning. As Nolan Wilson returns to the mound to face off against number 21, Jack Ryan.
Well, 2 strikeouts tonight so far for Nolan Wilson, and he's looked pretty nice. Hasn't allowed any hits so far, and no runs on top of that. Can't ask for anything more as he has had a pretty good start to the outing.
The inning will start 1-0 to Jack Ryan, the freshman from Phoenix, Arizona. After him this inning, it'll be Jackson Witt, who is a new member of the BJs playing in his first game tonight, and JT Cox batting 9th in the order. Another swing and a miss, and then again, Nolan Wilson going to that outside spot and trying to make the BJs reach for it.
He's got a lot of motion on that pitch that allows him to be able to try to fish those BJ players out of the zone and swing at those pitches that aren't even in the zone. And because of the amount of motion he puts on the ball, he's able to really get them to bite on those. And typically you won't see players bite on those unless you have a pitcher with as much wrist motion that Nolan Wilson has.
A 4-3 play right there on a hard ground ball leads to out number 1. And now it's the new member of the BJs up to bat who is playing catcher tonight. It is Jackson Witt from Butler Community College. Fouls back the first pitch. Starts the count off 0-1.
It's not to be confused with Bobby Witt Jr. for those who are Royals fans.
Just finished his freshman year at Butler, is from Wichita, played at Trinity Academy. Down 0-2 in the count.
Trinity Academy is actually kind of from my neck of the woods. They've got a pretty solid athletic program as a whole there. They've got quite a few sports that they're pretty solid at.
That time the BJs don't take a swing at it. Witt will leave that one on the outside for ball number 1. He played in 7 games as a freshman this year with Butler. Finished the season with 4 runs and a 200 average. Wilson delivers, and a line drive will go up the middle. And that is the first hit of the game for the BJs, and it comes from their new member.
Well, the first hit of the outing for the BJs, and pretty nice looking hit too. He was able to slip it through the infield and kind of sliced it into the outfield, and it just found its way to the outfield grass, and Witt had a nice easy single there for himself.
We'll see if Liberal can build off that as they try to find their first runs of the night. That'll bring up number 4, JT Cox. Another California native on this Liberal team. A half-hearted swing to start. Letting it go by. The count is 0-1.
I think even if he would have connected with that ball, he would have been so jammed up on that pitch. Even if it was a check swing, for that matter, that ball just found its way to the very edge of the zone.
Line drive into left field. Baker will just stand in place, let the ball come to him, and he's got the catch for out number 2. Two away now and a runner at first. That brings us back to the top of Liberal's order with Matt Bernath, a freshman from Point Loma Nazarene. Started in all 57 games that he played in this season. Earned himself an All-Pac West Conference selection. He'll take a swing on the outside, and the count is 0-1. He grounded out to Thomas Lissy in his first appearance as the leadoff batter in tonight's game. Wilson works with a runner at first base, taking his time, sends the ball to the plate. It's up high, and they're going to throw back to first base. And sliding back safely is Jackson Witt.
Throw was in time, and Babcock just couldn't quite get his body twisted around to make the tag. I think he almost kind of lost where Jackson Witt was at, because it looked like initially he wanted to tag him back to his right side, but instead he had to spin all the way around and tag him back to his left.
Foul ball there, puts 2 strikes in the count to Matt Bernath. Wilson has 2 strikeouts so far in tonight's game. Both of those came at the end of the second inning. Pitch on the way will be fouled into the parking lot of Doom. And Bernath keeps the inning alive. Witt will take a lead off first base. And the ball gets sent to the plate. This one will be rolled over to Tabor Stokes on the run. He'll scoop it up and throw it over to Babcock. There is out number 3. Liberal was able to get a hit that inning from their new player, Jackson Witt, but he is left stranded at first base. It is now time for the bottom of the third, where Trent Baker will lead things off up next. Thomas Rehe goes back to the mound as we start the bottom half of the third inning. After Liberal was able to get a hit, their first hit of the night in the last inning, they left him stranded and now have to go back to work on defense. As Trent Baker, who had an RBI single and a run in his first trip around the base path, comes up to bat, followed by Jackson Babcock and Dylan LaRue this inning. Baker will leave the first one out there for ball one.
The big key for the BJs here for the remainder of this game is to not let this game get too far out of reach. Once the Larks get 5-6 runs on the board, they start to get a lot of confidence in their play, and they tend to loosen up and really relax a lot more. And that tends to lead to better results for them in terms of how well they're hitting the ball and how well they're seeing the ball for that matter. So if you're a BJ, you have to do all you can to limit the damage right now and see what you can do to keep your team in the game so that this lead is a little bit more manageable for you to start to chip away at here in the later innings.
Swing and a miss. Leads to 2 strikes in the count to Trent Baker. The third run of tonight's game, trying to keep the inning alive or avoid being the first out. Leaves that one outside, moving the count to 2-2. Rehe is ready, so is Baker. And we got a line drive deep into center field. Ryan on the run is able to make a sliding catch for the first out.
What a catch by Jack Ryan, the sliding catch, the hat flying off. I mean, what more can you ask for? That was as much of an athletic play as you're ever going to see in baseball. That is a highlight play right there. That was pretty incredible. I didn't know if he was going to make it there or not. He was really hauling to get across the field to get there in time, and sure enough, he made it, and wow, what a play. It paid off for him.
Jackson Babcock now comes up to bat. Starts with a 1-0 count. Batted third in the order in the last game for the Larks. And the next pitch will be sent his way. It's going to catch the high outside corner of the zone, moving the count to 1-1. Babcock is the Larks leader in on-base percentage entering this game with .543 on the season. He'll leave that one outside, tying the count up. Coming off of a performance where he went 0 for 4, which was the first game for him where he didn't reach base, which even though that's not what he wanted, that's still impressive to say the least that it took him that long before that arrived. Babcock is now ahead 3-1. We'll see if he can get a hit right here or get walked. He's been walked more than any other Lark this season. Rehe kicks and deals. And a line drive. This one will take a bounce off the left or right field fence and go foul to lead to a full count.
Babcock's such a disciplined batter when he's on the plate. He's got 31 walks on the season. I mean, he sees the plate and the ball so well when he's standing in that batter's box.
Another payoff pitch from Rehe. Inside, and they're going to call that one strike 3. There is now 2 away, and Dylan LaRue will try to keep the inning alive. Had a deep hit into left field in his previous at-bat. That one would be caught, but would be an RBI. That would give the Larks their 3rd run of the game. He will hit the first pitch of the at-bat, and Garcia will wave off Rehe, and he will tag first for the final out of the inning. 2, 3, 4 will be up next for Liberal when we start the top of the 4th inning. It is time for the top of the 4th inning as Nolan Wilson goes back to the mound for the Larks. And because it's the top of the 4th inning, it is time for me to step to the side and give the play-by-play duties over to Eli Blankenship.
Thank you, Hank. Sun's starting to set here at Larks Park. Sun's almost down. Down enough at least to where there's a little bit more shade here in the ballpark.
Fans will definitely be appreciative of that after a 92-degree first pitch.
That's for sure. I want to say I heard the BJ broadcaster over on the other end of the press box saying it felt like 100 at the first pitch. Olivares will ground out to C.J. Reed, who is there to dish it on over to Jackson Babcock for the first out of the inning.
Liberals doing a good job making contact early on in this game, but the problem for them is that the Larks are reading it very well and being able to make the plays.
They are, and they're seeing the ball pretty well, all things considered. You know, we've had Nolan Wilson with a couple pitches where he's had, got him to reach for it a couple times, but other than that, they've seen the ball pretty well, and it's been difficult for them to hit the ball away from this Larks defense. Up to the plate is number 20, the third baseman, Drew Grego, for the Liberal BJs. Takes the first pitch for ball 1. That pitch fouled hard away down the left field line.
And this is where Liberal starts that D1 trio with Drew Grego because he's a Nebraska commit. He's got 2 other D1 batters after him.
Yeah, and that's a scary part of their lineup to have to face if you're a pitcher. And having to face them almost all in succession is so intimidating for a pitcher, I can imagine. Now the 1-1 pitch to Grego. That pitch fouled high away and out of play. It will go into the parking lot of doom, and a couple kids chase it down to try to get their dollar from the concession stand. Now a 1-2 count in favor of Nolan Wilson. Wilson kicks and deals. That pitch fouled away into the BJ's dugout. And the count will remain at 1-2. Grego yet to play any college baseball as he is a recent high school graduate. But as you mentioned, a Nebraska commit. Certainly a pretty impressive mark to be able to commit to a Division I college straight out of high school. Not a lot of players do that nowadays with the transfer portal being what it is. 2-2 pitch to Grego. Finds the inside of the zone. That's strike number 3 and an out. Out number 2 on the inning, and a good-looking pitch there from Nolan Wilson.
3 now for him on the night, just working it around the zone, keeping Liberal guessing. You've seen them reach at those on the outside and leave them on the inside. Just with him moving around the zone, it's impossible to predict.
That was a good-looking pitch there from Nolan Wilson, just squeaking it past him on the inside corner and just laying that one right in the zone. And that is a pretty notable out to get there against a team like the BJs that have those 3 Division I players. I mean, that's not an easy thing to just strike out a Division I commit. That's certainly a feather in his cap for Nolan Wilson. That brings up the right fielder, number 24, Justin Hudson. Hudson down on the count, 0-2. He has the best batting average on the BJ's team at 450. A pretty impressive mark for him. He's played in 11 games this season so far, so wasn't actually a part of this roster the entire season, as I would imagine. He was probably wrapping up his college season.
Yeah, his first games were actually when the Larks went down to Liberal.
So his debut then for this season, I guess, would have been against the Larks. So not a unfamiliar team to him, as he has faced the Larks this season already. He's seen quite a bit of playing time for his college team. That grounded to Thomas Lissy, and Lissy throws it over to Babcock for the final out of the inning. And when we come back, it'll be the Larks' turn to get the bats going in the bottom of the 4th. Well, we welcome you back to Larks Park. It's the Larks' turn to see if they can get some more offense going. They had a 3-run first inning, and ever since then, they haven't made a lot of noise on offense, so we'll see if they can get things going on the offensive side of things. It'll be Lorenzo Rios leading off for the Larks, the catcher for the night for the Larks. As we've mentioned, the Larks kind of move the position of catcher around quite a bit. They shift the duties from person to person on a nightly basis. We see Paul Smith, Dylan LaRue, and Lorenzo Rios all getting reps in that catching position. First pitch to Rios is outside for ball 1. Rios getting an opportunity to face his college teammate, Thomas Rahe, for the second time tonight. Both attendees of Rice University. The second pitch of the at-bat hits Rios, and Rios will have a base to himself over there on first. So hit by pitch for Rios, and that will bring up the third baseman, number 15, Thomas Lissy.
Like we haven't heard that before with Lorenzo Rios. That's the 13th time he's been hit this season, more than any other Lark.
I'm convinced that guy has a magnet in him. Something has to be just attracting those balls to him. A gravitational pull just pulls the balls into his body, and he takes it like a champ. And taking one for the team, for the Larks like that, it gets you a base runner on the base paths and can really change the outcome of an inning because of the way that he can take that and just get up and get on going again. First pitch to Lissy is outside. He'll take the first pitch of the count as ball number 1. An interesting note about Lissy is he actually played 2 seasons at Houston before transferring to Incarnate Word, where he has played the remainder of his college career so far. But playing at Houston is a pretty notable mark, at least on his resume, I should say, as Houston is a Division I university, so a former Division I player is able to, get a little bit more reps at a smaller school like Incarnate Word, and then potentially maybe works their way back up to a Division I. Thomas Lissy, though, certainly the grind never stops for him as he's been able to play for the Larks this season. He'll get a hit by pitch, so back-to-back hit by pitches from Thomas Rahe, and there'll be a meeting on the mound here for just a moment with runners on first and second as the BJs are starting to get to a point where they've got to make a decision whether or not they're going to pull Rahe or if they're going to let him go the distance on the innings here, as it appears as though there's no one in the bullpen warming up yet.
And that's the thing when you play as the visiting team at Larks Park, is that you got to limit as many runs as possible, because that's what the Larks do best here at home. And they've held every home opponent to either 5 runs or less this entire season. So this is where the point that you got to hold them and get 3 outs put together.
Yeah, they're certainly not in a comfortable position here with them already being down 3 runs. We talked about it earlier in the game. The best thing the BJs can do to give them the best opportunity to come back in this game is going to be limit the amount of runs that you allow the Larks to put on the scoreboard, especially coming down the stretch here in this 4th, 5th, 6th inning. That's when the Larks tend to break open the scoring and get really relaxed and comfortable. That pitch really inside on Caleb Duncan, the center fielder, and Wichita State baseball player. It'll be a free base for Brady Kreitzer, a courtesy runner. That pitch in the dirt. Kreitzer goes halfway. He'll come back to third base. Runners on first and third, 1 in scoring position. No outs here in the bottom of the 4th inning. Duncan, the center fielder, up to the plate. The 2-0 pitch is chopped foul and into the Larks dugout. Chopped foul into the Larks dugout. I apologize there for just a moment. We kind of had a little bit of a technical difficulty there with the microphone. 2-1 count to Duncan is out of play. It'll bounce in the green part of the turf. It was fielded by the third baseman, Grego, but Grego was not able to get his hands around that ball before it went foul. It's a 2-2 count now to Duncan. The pitch. Swing and a miss from Duncan. That is out number 1 of the inning here in the bottom of the fourth, and a much-needed out for the BJs. That brings up the bottom of the order for the Larks. It is the second baseman, number 1, C.J. Reed, up to the plate. Reed re-entering the lineup this evening. Runner goes to second. He gets there in time. It is Thomas Lissy turning on the wheels there and picking up a stolen base. So now 2 runners in scoring position for C.J. Reed. An 0-1 count for Reed. 1 out here in the bottom of the fourth. Larks leading at 3-0 on 2 hits. The 0-1 count. That one hit over the top of the first baseman, Garcia. That'll score 1. They'll hold Lissy at third. So Brady Kreitzer will be run number 4 of the night for the Larks. And that will be an RBI single for C.J. Reed. The Larks now lead at 4-0. That brings up the top of the order for the Larks. It's Tabor Stokes, the shortstop. First pitch from Rahe is hit right into the gap, and that's going to score 1. An RBI single for Tabor Stokes, so now back-to-back RBI singles for the Larks, and they lead it by 5, just like that. The Larks, on 4 hits, have scored 5 runs here in the first 4 innings.
And right there was going to be interesting to see how Stokes approach that one, because it's still the same starting pitcher for the BJs. That's the 3rd time he's been up to the plate, and he's one of many Larks players that has been in this leadoff role this entire season. He's joined that role along with Lane Sparks, Caleb Duncan, and I believe a couple other guys as well.
The first pitch to the 2-hole hitter, Lane Sparks, the right fielder, is in there for strike 1. An 0-1 count now. Runners on first and second. One of those being in scoring position. That one hit high into left field. Backing up is Cox. He is there to make the play. And the runner on second tags and will make his way to third base. So now runners on first and third will bring up number 2, the left fielder, Trent Baker. C.J. Reed on to third has an opportunity to score here if Baker can knock a base hit into play. Two outs, runners on first and third. First pitch from Rahe is in there for strike 1, and the Larks will steal yet another base tonight. It seems like it's been a base-stealing fiesta here at Larks Park. Runners on second and third.
I was going to say, they've just been reading the pitching so well, and Liberal's not a team that's very easy to steal against because their opponents are only successful 3/4 of the time.
it helps that this Larks team is so quick. They have such good wheels on this squad. They've got players from the very beginning of their lineup to the very end that are very quick players, so you can never count out a player to run in any occasion. That pitch was in the dirt on Trent Baker, who is going to have to battle back here for the remainder of this count as he is down 1-2. He looks back to home plate to Witt. Witt in his first game as a Liberal BJ. Now the pitch. That pitch hit hard down the third baseline. Ducking out of the way was C.J. Reed. He had to kind of duck out of the way of that ball that was hit pretty hard off the bat of Trent Baker. Now a 1-2 count to Trent Baker. He kicks and deals. That pitch fouled away and out of play once again. This time landing back into the parking lot of doom. That one made its way over the top of the press box. Base hits could score 2 here in this position with 2 runners in scoring position. The 1-2 count to Baker once again. Can't sneak its way into the zone. It's low and outside. 2 balls, 2 strikes, and 2 outs here in the bottom of the 4th. Larks still lead at 5-0. Now the pitch from Rahe. That pitch once again low, and now it'll be a full count with the left fielder at the plate. Payoff pitch on the way from Rahe. That pitch inside on Baker, and Baker will be able to load it up. It's Jackson Babcock's turn to see if he can make something happen. Bases loaded, a big position for Jackson Babcock to be in here, and Jackson Babcock certainly got a stick on him as 4 home runs on the season, 35 hits, 385 on the season is what he's averaging, so pretty solid hitter himself. He's got 28 RBIs and 31 walks, so he sees the ball really well. We've talked about it before. He sees the ball so well. He's very disciplined when he gets up to the plate, and so this is not the batter you're going to want to see when the bases are loaded by any means. This is a kind of a scary situation here for Thomas Rahe.
Well, I mean, just looking at how Babcock has progressed throughout this entire season, he came right out of the gate as one of the Larks' top hitters, and then teams quickly realized that, trying to move the ball around the zone, and that's when you learned what kind of plate discipline he has. He's able to get on base in any way possible.
Well, he certainly bats in that cleanup position for a reason. Babcock, we've even seen pitchers won't even pitch strikes to him. They'll just pitch balls to him the entire count. First pitch to Babcock finds the inner corner of the zone for strike 1. Bags are all loaded up here in the bottom of the 4th. 2 outs, an 0-1 count to Babcock. That pitch outside. Rahe shakes his head once. Now the 1-1 pitch. That pitch hit straight through Garcia. Garcia couldn't quite get his glove around it, and that will score 2. Both C.J. Reed, along with Tabor Stokes, will slide their way into home plate for runs number 3 and 4 of the inning, and now the Larks lead at 7-0 here in the bottom of the 4th. A 2 RBI single for Jackson Babcock, and now runners on first and third with 2 outs. and 4 runs scored will be a mound meeting and a new pitcher for the BJs. So when we come back, we'll have that new pitcher in the remainder of the bottom of the 4th. Well, the new pitcher for the BJs is Cross Durham, the sophomore right-hander out of Seward County Community College and native of Crowell, Texas. And this season played in 30 games and actually got his chance to kind of hit the ball a little bit for his college team. Average 281 on the season on 9 hits. That'll bring up the designated hitter, Dylan LaRue. He'll hit that one into shallow right. That one drops in for a hit, and it'll be a RBI single for Dylan LaRue as Trent Baker will cross home plate and be run number 8 of the evening for the Larks. Runners on first and second. 2 outs here in the bottom of the 4th. Larks so far have scored 5 runs here in the bottom of the 4th. They scored their first 3 in the bottom of the 1st. A 2-out rally of sorts going on here in the bottom of the 4th, and Lorenzo Rios looking to keep that alive with runners on first and second. First pitch from Durham to Rios is swing and a miss. Lorenzo Rios was quite a ways behind that ball. Durham really brought the heat on that first pitch.
It's interesting to see how Liberal approaches this. I mean, you're back to Lorenzo Rios, who was the leadoff batter for this inning, so you faced 10 batters this inning. You got a new pitcher into the game in just his second appearance this season. And they're in desperate need of some outs right here.
Without a doubt, they've only got 1 out to end the inning, but they have been struggling to secure that last out. The Larks have really just been able to hit the ball wherever the BJs are not. It seems like the Larks have really been able to move the ball around quite well. That pitch fouled away, and the count will be 1-2 on Rios. So he'll have to battle back here for the remainder of this at-bat.
And Cross Durham, he has limited experience with this Liberal team, but we've talked about this before, especially when we had the Rough Riders series. They had players from Regis, how that impacts the team. You have Cross Durham playing for Seward County Community College out in Liberal, so that definitely helps out the team a little bit.
one big thing for these teams is team chemistry. That is something that is so important, and you can see the teams that are the most successful, the ones that build that chemistry the fastest. They struggle because they are ball clubs to build that chemistry, and the teams that are the most successful are the ones that are able to build that chemistry in a fast manner but an effective manner. The 1-2 pitch hit into left center field, and there to make the catch is J.T. Cox to conclude the inning. A 5-run fourth inning for the Hayes Larks. They lead at 8-0 when we go into the top of the fifth. Well, we welcome you back to Larks Park. BJ's looking to get something going here after a 5-run fourth inning as they trail 8-0. They're going to have to get something going here as they've only had one hit here in tonight's contest. The first pitch is kind of a half-hearted swing from Carson Willis, the designated hitter, for strike one.
And with this large lead, the Larks are still going to rely on Nolan Wilson. They don't have anybody warming up right now.
And honestly, Wilson's pitched a good game so far, only allowed one hit on no runs. There's no reason to pull him as long as he's not, raising his pitch count too high. That second pitch swung on a miss, so now an 0-2 count. 3 swings and misses from Carson Willis to start the inning will result in the fourth strikeout of the night for Nolan Wilson.
2 strikeouts to Carson Willis. Mentioned that he played for or was a redshirt this last season at Arkansas, so he has that SEC background, and is a good showing right here for Nolan Wilson. Keep in mind, though, even though he played this last season at the NAIA level, he does have some experience at the Division I level because he played 2 seasons at Houston Christian before he arrived at Cumberland.
Wilson so far looking like he's in pretty good form here tonight. Drew Garcia, the first baseman, up to the plate for the BJs. Takes that pitch for strike one. Now 1-1 count to Garcia. The pitch. Garcia looked like he wanted to rotate his hips on that one, and it kind of dropped in there at the very last second, so that pitch was in the dirt for ball 2. Now a 2-1 count. Wilson kicks and deals. That pitch slightly inside. It looked like that had a chance to be in the zone, but couldn't quite work its way in there. 3-1 count now to Drew Garcia. The pitch. That one right into the zone. And now Wilson will level up the count to 3-2 with a full count. Now the payoff pitch is outside, and Garcia will have a base on balls. And that will put the first runner of the inning on base. Runner on first, 1 out. That'll bring up the center fielder, number 21, Jack Ryan. The first pitch to Ryan is outside for ball 1. The 1-0 pitch is in there for strike 1, sneakily getting across the outside corner of the zone. One ball, 1 strike, 1 out. Here in the top of the 5th. The pitch. That one curves just outside of the zone. Looked like it made its way in there, but it may have curved over the plate so that the ball may have crossed the plate while it was out of the zone.
Wonder if that drop was the reason that they didn't call it.
It's very possible. It certainly had some drop and some curve on top of that. It was almost a little bit of a slurve in a way on that pitch. That pitch, strike, and now a 2-2 count to Jack Ryan. The pitch. That pitch fouled away into the Hayes Larks dugout. Making a nice little snag there in the dugout was a Hayes Lark. That was Julio Ramos. The right-handed pitcher was standing right there along the fence supporting his fellow pitcher. The 2-2. It was outside the zone, and somehow, some way, Jack Ryan was able to hold himself up from swinging all the way through that pitch. It looked like he just barely didn't break the plane. I mean, just by a hair. Was able to pull back at just the right moment and kept himself in the count. Now the payoff pitch from Wilson. Strike 3. He got him. Swing and a miss from Jack Ryan. A good-looking pitch. That's the 3rd or 4th time he's gotten a BJ on that exact pitch, that pitch that curves right out of the zone. I mean, he just dangles the carrot right over him, right over the plate, and then drops it right out of the zone. A good-looking pitch there from Nolan Wilson to secure out number 2 for the Larks.
And in that position, it just becomes extra hard because you got the full count trying to advance the runners because you already got Drew Garcia over at first base. He just had to take the swing.
First pitch of the count on Jackson Witt, the BJ debutee. I guess debutee. I think that's the proper terminology there. The guess it's his first game as a BJ. I guess I should say. The 0-1 pitch is now an 0-2 count after Wilson dropped that one right into the zone. Witt going to have to battle back here. An 0-2 count now on the catcher. That one couldn't quite find the zone as it was a little bit outside on Jackson Witt.
going in that similar spot. That time he just tried putting it up a little higher, hoping that the home plate umpire would call that a strike.
Swing and a miss. Back-to-back batters. He's got him swinging. 4 batters saw Wilson that inning, and 3 of them went down to conclude the inning. We'll be going to the bottom of the 5th. When we come back, the Larks lead it 8-0. That'll bring up the third baseman, Thomas Lissy, to lead off for the Larks here in the bottom of the 5th. And the Larks so far have had a pretty nice showing tonight. 8 runs on 6 hits, and it's been a really great outing. Just a great showing on both sides of the ball. Pitching wise, Nolan Wilson has done an excellent job on the mound, and then offensively, the Larks have looked lights out tonight. They've really been able to see the ball really well. They've been disciplined at the plate and hit the ball really well, and they haven't left a whole lot of runners on base either.
I mean, it feels like I say this about every game, but it's just the case, and the approach for the Larks for every game is that when the pitching gets hot early on, it translates over to the bats, and you've seen that so far tonight with another early lead.
It absolutely does, and you had an opportunity to talk to Julio Ramos about that a little bit, about how that translates over to the rest of the team. That is such a crucial thing that people don't realize, that when a home team especially can have a good first 2-3 innings, if the pitching can get going and get hot and really have some good pitch selection and have some good at-bats, it translates over to the offensive side of the ball. They're able to really capitalize and build off of that momentum that their pitchers have built. That first at-bat of the inning for the Larks ended in a ground out from Thomas Lissy. So it'll be out number 1, and that will bring up the center fielder from Wichita State, Caleb Duncan. First pitch to Duncan is in the dirt. That will be ball number 1 on the count. Second pitch of the count finds its way into the zone. Now 1-1 count. A native of Goodyear, Arizona, awaiting the 1-1 pitch. He will take that pitch outside. The count will be tied at 2-1 as Cross Durham is pitching out of a full windup. The pitch swung on and missed, and got himself in the inner leg is what it appeared. Kind of fouled that one away, and it looked like it kind of chopped back at him. And that will account for strike number 2, so now a 2-2 count now to Caleb Duncan. Duncan, a pretty talented batter himself, averaging .339 on the season. Played in 18 games so far on 20 hits and 2 home runs with 18 RBIs. The 2-2 pitch to Duncan. Swung on and missed, swung on and fouled. And this time going into his shin guard. Thankfully, that would have caused him to have to jump away from the plate once again after taking that 2-1 pitch to the inner leg. It'll be a 2-2 pitch once again from Durham. That one swung right into right field, finding the gap between Olivares and Garcia. And Duncan makes his way to first base. Nice little first knock of the inning for Caleb Duncan. Getting things started for the Larks, and that is hit number 7 of the night. And we'll bring up the bottom of the order for the Larks with C.J. Reed playing second base this evening. Larks lead at 8-0 here in the bottom of the 5th. 1 runner on, 1 out. Duncan takes off. He's there with plenty of time. An easy stolen base for Duncan, as he is one of the more speedy players on this Larks roster.
He just got that athleticism, and that's something that I've mentioned before is kind of in his DNA because he comes from an athletic family. I have it listed right here that both of his parents ran track at the D1 level at Iona. His dad also played football, and he has a brother named Kieran who he was an All-American kick returner and wide receiver for Colorado State Pueblo, and he signed as an undrafted free agent with the Chicago Bears in 2016.
Some of those players, they just have athleticism in their blood, and that is a prime example there with Caleb Duncan, a kind of a generational talent there that is he's able to translate that to a different sport in baseball. He's just as quick and finds his love in the game of baseball, his brother in his own respect in the game of football. 1-1 pitch is swung on and missed by Reed. Now a 1-2 count to C.J. Reed. Runner on second, 1 runner in scoring position, that is. Reed will step back into the box. Durham's arm will dangle down as he is pitching out of the stretch now, facing the third base side as a right-handed pitcher. He'll turn around to Duncan for the pickoff move, and it was a quick turnaround. It almost looked like he was like pulling a gun out of a holster there for a moment. It was like a showdown at high noon. He whipped around and threw that ball back to the shortstop. And Bernath, who was not there to cover the base, and Durham got a little lucky there in the sense that Bernath was ready to receive that ball. That pitch outside for ball 2. The 2-2 pitch from Durham. That pitch hit foul and behind the plate. The ball boy will be there to retrieve it. Count will remain at 2-2. Durham didn't like that first pitch. He shakes his head no. Now the delivery. Swung on and missed by C.J. Reed. He'll retire back to the dugout. And that will bring up the top of the order for the Larks with 2 outs and a runner on second. The 8th Street Liquor Beverage batter for the Larks tonight. The top of the order, man. I think that I'm sure the Larks faithful is pretty happy about that one, as one of the better batters in the order, Tabor Stokes, being able to be that 8th Street Liquor Beverage batter. Certainly a lot of discounts for them this evening.
He's already gotten one hit tonight. He can do it again right here.
First pitch of the at-bat is in the zone for strike one, kind of dropped that one into the zone. An 0-1 count now to Tabor Stokes. Olivares cheats his way to second base. Durham takes a look. Stokes drops that one. Almost in time was the throw. Stokes was able to drop that ball straight into the shortstop, Bernath, who couldn't quite field the ball in time to make the throw. And, man, that was a very close play at first base. Stokes just barely, maybe by a half of a step beat the throw. Maybe even less. I would say maybe even a quarter of a step beat the throw. And man, what a throw from Bernath. He almost got that throw across the field just in time, and Stokes will provide for the Larks faithful here at Larks Park and keep the rally alive here in the bottom of the fifth.
And there was another close play.
I don't know. That one looked like that. I don't know if he got back in time. That was a very difficult one to call from the position that the outfield umpire, or the infield umpire, I should say, is in. Because they're only running a two-man crew tonight, it's difficult for him to see that play. And so I think had he been on the other side of that foul line, I think that would have been a completely different call. Runner will go. He slides into second and is there in time as the ball bounces over Bernath. The runner will score. That will be run number 9 on the night for the Larks, as Caleb Duncan will make his way across home plate. An 0-1 count to the right fielder, Lane Sparks. The pitch from Durham is in there for strike 2. An 0-2 count to Lane Sparks. Better known as Sparky amongst his teammates. Now the 0-2 pitch. Sparky hits that one right into the outfield. He'll drop that one in. The Larks will score their 10th run of the game, and it's an RBI single for Lane Sparks. The rally continues here in the bottom of the 5th inning, with 2 runs scored in the bottom of the 5th. 9 hits total on 10 runs scored on the night. And that'll bring up Trent Baker, the left fielder. Baker, the home run leader for the Larks, on 6 home runs and 36 RBIs. Also leads the team in RBIs himself.
And the Larks now put themselves on a trajectory to get their 10th run rule win of the season, which would be a huge accomplishment against a rival like Liberal, and especially because since we're so close to the finish line of the RMBL race and with the NBC World Series coming up as well, it builds a lot of momentum.
Without a doubt, and you certainly want to be in your top form at this point of your season, and for the Larks, this is exactly the kind of baseball they want to be playing going into the NBC World Series, where they're going to be facing some very tough opponents. The 1-0 pitch from Durham. Before that, he will throw over to first base. Lane Sparks will slide his way back into first, and rightfully so that he throws over there. Lane Sparks has wheels on him. There's a reason they call him Sparky. He has sparks coming off his feet when he's running the base paths. That pitch chopped away down the first baseline, and it will land in the BJ's bullpen. Ball will go out of play for for Baker. And the count will be 1-1. Durham's right arm dangles across his front leg. Gets the call. Now the pitch. 1-1 pitch finds its way into the zone. Now a 1-2 count to Trent Baker. Baker, the Lamar University baseball player, junior outfielder and right-handed pitcher. He'll line that one straight to Garcia, trying to leg it out. He can't get there in time, and that will conclude the inning here in the bottom of the fifth. 2 runs scored in the bottom of the fifth. The Larks lead it 10-0. They're going to try and pull out another run rule victory here at Larks Park when we come back at the top of the 6th inning. Well, we welcome you back to Larks Park. It is the end of the day for Nolan Wilson. He had an excellent outing himself. 6 strikeouts on the night. In the 5 innings he pitched, he only had 1 hit and 1 walk allowed. A pretty nice outing for Wilson. The new pitcher for the Larks this evening will be Brooks Jones, coming in and pitching relief. He's pitched 7 games so far this season. On 20 innings pitched, he's allowed 13 hits, 9 runs, and 9 earned runs. He has got a 3.15 ERA.
And the Larks continuing that same game plan by putting Brooks Jones in. They have Nolan Wilson, who can work the ball around the zone, getting the strikeouts, and now you put Brooks Jones in, who has really been one of the silent good players with his strikeouts. He's gotten 25 in his last 4 appearances.
Yeah, he's got 35 Ks on the season. Certainly not one to turn your head away from. The 1-1 pitch to the bottom of the order, J.T. Cox, is in there for strike number 2. A 1-2 count now to J.T. Cox. Jones kicks and deals. Swing and a miss. First strikeout of the night for Brooks Jones on his first at-bat. Out number 1 of the inning here in the top of the 6th. The Larks still lead at 10-0 in what has been a very productive Larks baseball outing. And when I say that, I don't mean just on the offensive side of the ball. It's been a very nice night for the defensive side of the ball as well for the Larks. They've really done an excellent job all evening.
Yeah, at the start of the game, you really saw Liberal try to put the ball in play, trying to find the gaps, and the pitching got a lot of help from the fielders. But here in the recent innings, you're starting to see the K's pile up.
And it really seemed like Nolan Wilson, the starting pitcher for the Larks this evening, was able to kind of take the wind out of the BJ's sails tonight, as they had a little bit of success there in that second inning. Really is where we saw a little shines of hope there, but Wilson was able to just continue to pitch really well all night long. Top of the order for the BJs, Matt Bernath. He'll ground that one to Lissy. Lissy fires it over to Babcock, and he is there to make the second out of the inning. That'll bring up I apologize there for the technical difficulties. My mic doesn't always like to cooperate with me, depending on the time of day. I think the weather has some effect in it. I've got all sorts of different theories as to the mishaps of my headset at times. So Larry Olivares, number 17, the second baseman, up to the plate for the BJs. That one fouled hard and away, and packing up was a Larks pitcher from the Larks bullpen. He was trying to track that one down and make the catch before it went over the fence into the parking lot of doom, and I commend him for trying to track that one down and saving all of our cars out there in the parking lot. An 0-2 count to Olivares. The pitch finds its way into the zone. Strike number 3 and out number 3 of the inning. That's the end of the top of the 6th. When we come back, it's the Larks' turn to try to add on to their lead in the bottom of the 6th inning. Don't go anywhere. You're listening to Larks Baseball on the Larks Network. We welcome you back to Larks Park. It's the bottom of the 6th inning here in Hays, Kansas. They've still got Cross Durham on the mound for the BJs. Larks so far this season have been looking really good and have been in great form as they stand at 23-4-1 on the season, and they're doing really well in their RMBL standings. The RMBL is their league that they play in. For those not familiar, they are sitting at the top of that league. I'll let Hank talk about that a little bit more.
Larks are trying to go for a back-to-back title, and they entered tonight's game with a magic number of 4, and they're on track for another win tonight. And what I've been told is that Dodge City got run ruled tonight, so the Larks' magic number could drop to 2, and by the end of tomorrow night, we could have a 2025 RMBL champion.
It's very possible we might get to see the RMBL champions here at Larks Park, and be sure to tune in for the next few games, as that might be coming here anytime soon. It could be in the next, like you said, maybe even in the next 2 games. So be sure to make sure you're subscribed. Make sure you can get the notifications of when we go live, so that we can, be able to bring that broadcast to you guys, and you guys can watch the Larks. Hopefully, fingers crossed, secure that RMBL champions title this season. While we were away there for just a moment, the Larks were able to get a runner on base. That is Jackson Babcock. And now up to the plate is Dylan LaRue, the designated hitter. He's got a 1-1 count on him against Cross Durham. Durham comes set. Now the 1-1 pitch. That pitch swung on and missed by LaRue. LaRue was quite a ways in front of that pitch, kind of a change-up from Cross Durham. Now 1-2 count. That pitch inside. LaRue will live to fight another pitch here at 2-2. Durham takes a look back to first base. Tilts his cap down. Now the pitch. That pitch outside, and we'll move to a full count. It seems like both BJ's pitchers have really extended the counts of these at-bats for the Larks this evening. Now the payoff pitch from Durham. He'll look back to first base. Babcock slides in safely. Garcia receives the ball nicely, and he will throw it right back to his pitcher, Durham. Durham kicks and deals. That pitch outside for ball 4. It's a base on balls for Dylan LaRue. Runners on first and second now with nobody out here in the bottom of the 6th. That'll bring up number 21, the catcher, Lorenzo Rios. Larks looking to secure another run rule victory here tonight in Hays, Kansas. Durham looks back to second. First pitch of the at-bat to Rios is in there for strike 1. Durham, the right-handed pitcher from Seward County Community College. The 0-1 from Durham is chopped to the second baseman. Excuse me, I guess that is the shortstop, Bernath, who is there to step on second base and make the double play. So Rios hits into a double play, and the lead runner, Jackson Babcock, progresses his way to third base. That'll bring up the third baseman, Thomas Lissy. Lissy averaging .363 on the year, on 29 hits and 1 home run, and along with 21 RBIs in the 23 games played this season. First pitch in there for ball 1. Durham pitching out of the stretch. The 1-0 pitch. Outside and low. Durham will step off the rubber and have a mound meeting with Witt, the newly added Liberal BJ. The sun is kind of officially down now. The wind hasn't really died down, though, at all. I still see the flagpole really whipping over there and out behind the Larks bullpen. And the lights are on. So certainly a different environment now for the Larks as the temperature starts to come down. I'm sure the Larks faithful are very happy about that. It was pretty warm when we got to the ballpark tonight.
Yeah, it says the wind has died down a little bit, but there's still some strong gusts. But the sun's out of the way. It's definitely dropped below what it was originally at 92.
That ball popped up in the infield, and that will conclude the inning for Thomas Lissy as he pops it up, and Bernath is there to make the play. Bernath securing all 3 outs of the inning for the BJs. No runs in the bottom of the 6th. The Larks still lead it 10-0. When we come back, it'll be Hank's turn to take over the play-by-play duties in the top of the 7th. We welcome you back to the ballpark. I'm going to turn it over to Hank. Hank, take it away.
Thank you, Eli. The Blankenship Magic strikes again. The Larks score 7 runs in the time that you're calling the game, and they put themselves in a position for another run rule.
I don't know what it is. I was convinced that once Baker lost his home run streak that I had to just flee Hayes for the rest of my life, and now the Blankenship Magic is back. So I guess it's real. Maybe it does exist.
The Larks need 3 outs this inning to get the run rule, and they start with a 1-1 count against the Nebraska commit, Drew Grego. Facing off against Brooks Jones, the relief pitcher for Nolan Wilson. He is one of the guys we will interview in the postgame show, which could be coming up here in a second if the Larks get 3 outs.
They're looking to close this one out and secure another run rule victory here tonight. If they can get 3 outs here in this inning, they can definitely do that. It's definitely within reach.
To untie the count, that one will be fouled off, and Grego now has to work against 2 strikes. Grego so far 0 for 2 on the night. Entered as one of the top hitters for Liberal. Just finished his high school career at Bellevue West down in Papillion, Nebraska. And he swings and misses, and another strikeout there for the Larks.
Strikeout number 3 on the night for Brooks Jones, and that is the 9th strikeout of the outing for the Larks pitching staff.
They just do a good job of finding the zone. Like we've seen in the last 11 of the last 13 games, the Larks have reached double digits in strikeouts, and then in those 2 games that they didn't, they were 1 away from surpassing that.
The Larks pitching staff has certainly been in very good form here in the later parts of this season.
Takes a bounce inside, and Hudson will walk down to first base. Just clipped him near the foot, and we're going to get time now. They're going to say that didn't hit him, so the count will begin 1-0. And Hudson will continue his appearance at the plate. And now we're going to see Liberals coach make his way out to the field for a talk with the umpire. There was a bounce there, so that's what makes me think that he should go back to the plate. And also, the home plate umpire never made that call, never put his hands up.
It's very possible, and sometimes the batter will kind of just assume, and they don't exactly see the ball bounce on the ground first, or they feel it hit them, and it feels like it came at them however many miles an hour that it normally would if it weren't to bounce on the ground. And so it's very possible that happened, and he just didn't realize the ball bounced on the ground.
So the Queens Royal, Justin Hudson, is back to the plate. 1-0 on the way from Jones. Now puts 2 balls in the count as it goes outside. After Hudson is Carson Willis. Liberal leading off the inning with their 3 Division I batters. And Justin Hudson is ahead 3-0. And Brooks Jones able to find the strike zone in the lower part. Count now 3-1.
Jones is not going to go down without a fight in this count.
Pitch goes to the plate, and Reed can't quite make the play there. And just like how Liberal got their other hit earlier in the game, it goes right up the middle near that same spot. And they've got a runner on first base.
That was a hard one for him to field there. That really just found the gap once again. That was, as you mentioned, that was the way they got their first hit of the night. They found the gap between second and shortstop, and that's such a hard kind of gray area to cover because, yes, the pitcher's there, but the ball hasn't always gotten down on the ground yet for the pitcher to even be able to make a play on the ball. And so in that kind of situation right there, it's just a hard play to make no matter who you are.
The designated hitter, Carson Willis, is up to bat. And he will hit a ground ball over to Thomas Lissy, trying to turn the double play over to C.J. Reed. Now to first. Not in time. Liberal will stay alive. Their lead runner is out. And Carson Willis reaches base for the first time tonight. That is through a fielder's choice.
Yeah, and that was the right call there from the umpire. And it was a really close play at first base, but he was able to get there just by the hair of his chinny chin and was able to extend the BJ's stay here in Hayes this evening for maybe just an at-bat longer.
So the count will begin 1-0. I was standing up because I'm getting ready to go down to the field for the post-game interview, but it caused my mic to have some technical difficulties, so I'll sit back down. The count 1-1.
Hank had some ideas, but the mic had others, so we've got to listen to the will of the mic. We're at the mercy of the mic sometimes.
Jones delivers the 1-1 to the plate. It goes inside, and it ties it up. Garcia was struck out in his first appearance, walked in his most recent. Trying to advance the runner. Carson Willis at first. Liberal just needs 1 run to play another inning. On the outside part of the plate, just missing. 3 balls in the count for the first baseman, Drew Garcia. The runner from first will go, and it does not matter as that one misses on the outside for ball 4. Liberal has runners at first and second.
Some promise here showing for the BJs. They've got an opportunity here to try and extend this game out just about an inning longer or more. We'll kind of just have to play it by ear.
One more out, and the Larks could become the first team this season to shut out Liberal. Jack Ryan, the center fielder, will put this one in play, and it's fielded by Tabor Stokes and then goes off his glove, and C.J. Reed will pick it up. And on an air, Jack Ryan will have first base, Carson Willis will have third, and Drew Garcia will have second for the bases to be loaded.
Yeah, and it's almost like he kind of turned on autopilot there for a second, especially when you get into games like this where they're with lack of a better word, kind of a blowout. It's hard for players to really stay engaged and locked into the game, especially in the late innings of the game when you're kind of coming down the stretch. You're getting tired. You're ready to kind of be done with the game. And for those players, they have to do all they can to try and stay mentally locked in to the game in order to avoid those errors.
Swing and a miss for the eighth batter in the order for the BJs, Jackson Witt. This at-bat right here will determine if the game ends or if we play another inning. He faces a 1-1 count against the Hutchinson Blue Dragon, Brooks Jones. Puts that one inside, ties the count up 2-1. And Lorenzo Rios will now go out to the mound for a quick meeting with Jones.
This is the appropriate time for a meeting for sure. Just try to calm him down a little bit. Let him pull the reins back in a little bit. Try to get him to settle back into that rhythm that he's established.
Jones will untie the count. Half-hearted swing, and he is ahead 2-2.
Well, that's what he needed in this count. They really needed him to get ahead in this count so that now he has a little bit more wiggle room to work with for the remainder of this at-bat.
Pitch goes to the plate, and it's a swing and a miss. That's 10 run rule victories for the Larks, and they become the first team in 2025 to shut out the BJs.
Well, just like that, the Larks will close this one out. They shut out the BJs, and in a run rule fashion, the Larks will win this one 10-0 in what was all Larks baseball since the very first inning of the game. From the first inning, they were coming out swinging. They had 3 runs scored in the first, had 2 scoreless innings in the second and third innings, and then the fourth and fifth innings is where they scored the next bulk of their runs, where the Larks scored 5 runs in the fourth and 2 runs in the fifth to get themselves to a grand total of 10 runs. They only had 10 runs and 10 hits on the night, so 10 run, 10 hit. You can't really ask for more if you're Coach Frank Leo. A little bit of miscues there at the very end of the game to close it out, but the Larks were able to kind of pull things back together to really close that ball game out in professional fashion. We're going to go field side to Hank here in just a moment. He will have our on-field player interview. He'll be interviewing Nolan Wilson and C.J. Reed. We're going to send it down here in just a moment. I'm going to step aside, and then when we come back, we'll have our post-game thoughts, so be sure to stick around for that.
The team.
And how satisfied would you say you are with your progression throughout this season, especially looking back to that Colorado trip is when you really started to pick things up, and it's carried on throughout this season?
Yeah, it was a little bit of a slow start, but I just had to simplify my game and just get my mind right and take it more seriously so that I could, give my best for the team.
And I've asked a lot of guys this. You're another player that's going to be playing at the Division I level next season at Ohio State. What are you hoping to do for the remainder of this season before you go to Columbus?
Yeah, just enjoy my time here in Hayes and, get ready to get after it in Ohio.
Congrats on the win tonight. Give it up for C.J. Reed. I'm now here with Nolan Wilson, who had another strong performance on the mound tonight through 5 innings of work and recorded 6 strikeouts on the night. What was working for you?
Just throwing strikes and competing in the zone.
And that's something that I noticed for you is you like to work the ball around the zone a lot and try to keep the batters guessing. So how have you kind of taken that approach throughout the entire season?
Just doing what I can to get a win, just deceptiveness and throwing strikes.
And you're a returning player from last year's team, and the Larks and the BJ's rivalry goes back quite a ways. So for you as a returning player, what does it mean to you?
Yeah, it was a big game for sure. I mean, I got my grandparents, parents, host family in the stands. It's probably my last start here in front of this wonderful crowd, so it just meant a lot.
Congrats on another great performance. Give it up for Nolan Wilson.
Well, that was your live post-game on-field interview with Hank Corsair along with Nolan Wilson and C.J. Reed. When we come back, we'll have our post-game thoughts, so don't go anywhere. You're listening to Larks Baseball on
That is run rule number 10 on the season as the Larks improved to 24-4-1 on the season with a 10-0 shutout against the BJs. We saw it get done once again. They put a few runs on the board early on, and then throughout the game, the Larks were just able to hold on that. And the Blankenship Magic again in the middle part of the game, scoring 7 runs in 2 innings and propelling them to another victory.
Well, and they had a really nice start, too. I think they had a little bit of Corsair magic to start the game as well. They had a nice 3-run first inning that kind of set the tone for the remainder of this game. This is a big rivalry matchup. The Larks and the BJs have been rivals for the longest time. They've got a cross-state rivalry going on, and it's always fun to get to see these two teams match up. And if you can set the tone early in a rivalry game like this, it can really set the tone for the remainder of the game, if not the entire series.
And the pitching had another strong performance with Nolan Wilson getting the start. Something that we said he works around the zone a lot, able to get the strikeouts. And then Brooks Jones comes in after that and has another strong performance as well. And like I said, the Larks are the first team in 2025 to shut out the BJs. Doing that in a rivalry game this late in the season where we just got a week left until the guys go down to Wichita for the NBC World Series. It's a very big deal for them.
Certainly a very impressive mark to be the first team all season to shut out the BJs. That just serves as a testament to how talented this BJ's ball team is. They have a very good ball club. They've got some very talented players on that roster. They've got Division I commits. They have a whole slew of them in the middle of their roster, in the middle of their lineup for that matter. And that's been something that the BJ's have been able to pride themselves on all season long, where they've been able to at least put up a run or two on many teams throughout the season. And tonight, the Larks pitching showing why they are so elite, especially with Nolan Wilson on his 6 strikeouts across 5 innings. I mean, what a performance from him.
And again, we take another look at the RMBL standings. The Larks get win number 16 in RMBL play this year. And like I said, if I'm going to double check to make sure I'm correct about this, but from what I've been told, yes, Dodge City was run ruled tonight against the Game Day Angels, so they now fall to 11-9 on the year, and that drops the Larks' magic number to 2. So they just need to win. They either need to win these next 2 games, or they can win tomorrow night and hope that Dodge City loses again, and they're already champions of the RMBL.
They have an excellent opportunity ahead of them to potentially either take the title tomorrow night or later this week, and they really do have an opportunity to do so here very soon. And based on what I'm seeing, the Larks are in such great form at this point. I don't see any world where the Larks don't come out with the title here at the end of the season. To try not to jinx them by any means, but so far it has been very dominant baseball from this Larks squad.
The Larks will meet the BJs for the final time tomorrow night. It'll be a 7 o'clock first pitch. They'll look to get win number 4 against them on the year, and it should be another exciting matchup. So that's going to do it for us here at Larks Park. We want to thank you all for tuning in. I'm Hank Corsair, and alongside me tonight was Eli Blankenship, and we hope you all have a good rest of your night.